Hey, what's up, everybody? It is Ulu here. How's it? Welcome to my channel, Ulu High Life. What's up? I am been so excited to get back on here and upload another video. So here it is. I think in my introduction, I kind of talked a little bit about who I am, where I come from, and basically what, how I got here. When I got here, I really started to think about my life and what I was gonna do here, what my purpose for moving here from the 808 to the 702 was. Really, what my purpose was. Well, here are 5 things that I went through the first year or the first couple years that I went through transitioning from living on an island to living city style. Although where I live is kind of out of the way of the city, still it is a totally different world from where I come from. And so here is my 5 steps So here are the 5 things that I did in my life that kind of helped me transition and change and self-discovery, basically. And it's kind of cool because as I study and I listen to other women of empowerment, I noticed that they did similar things. So the first thing I did was acknowledgement of myself. So I had to acknowledge the things that I like, the things that I don't like, the things that I expect of myself, and things that I would like to work on. So things that I needed to work on. Shit, I need fucking cue cards. The second thing was I needed to be able to apply the changes, and so years ago, I learned that writing therapy was good for sorting out your thoughts. And for people like me, I'm very emotional, I'm very reactive to situations, whether it's good or bad. And so, especially when it's bad, I'm very reactive. And then, so my mind and my thoughts, they're not balanced. So, what I started doing was, I started to do writing therapy, and so it helped me to control my reactions to situations, and it helped me to put my thoughts into words. I grew up in a house where I was really never allowed to speak my mind, and so that's why, as a parent, I allow my children to speak what they feel. As they get older, um, certain okay, so I've been told that I should not be my children's friend. Okay, yes, I shouldn't be my children's friend, but at the same time, as they're growing and learning and discovering life, you should allow your children to speak what they want, what they feel, and what they think. um and I would never ever hide or keep information from my children. If I felt that they were old enough to know, and I felt that they were able to understand what was going on, then I would explain that to them. Of course, at 3 years old, I'm not going to explain, um, why, your dad didn't come home. I'm not gonna say, oh, because your dad is an alcoholic, or your dad is, cheating, or I think I'm not gonna say that. At 3 years old, you have to be able to um, relate to your children, or be able to communicate with your children. And as they grow older, you can present certain situations to them that you feel that they will be able to handle. Now, as a parent, I didn't know how to parent or what to say or how to say things to my children, but I explained it to them to where they were able to understand that this is what we're dealing with, and there's changes that's going to be made, and so here we are. And with every situation that was of trials or obstacles in our life or that disrupted our home front, I was able to explain that to my children. And I always kept that open communication with my children in that way. And so now, even today, as an adult, my children, my two children, are able to speak to me and are not ashamed to speak to me about what's going on with them. And even if I may not understand what they're going through, still they trust me. And so with that said, I was able to go through writing therapy, and I did the writing therapy for years. um, when I finally threw them away, I had 4 tablets of writing therapy. And before I threw them away, I skimmed through them, and it showed, honestly, it showed very little progress as far as my situation. It showed no changes, but as I went through it, I realized that I was able to um, really, really direct my emotions towards the situation at hand instead of overreacting and throwing everything out of proportion. Now, believe me, I back then, that's the way I was. I would do that, and it was not good. It was not good at all for my health. It was not good for my spirit. It was not good for my children. It was not good for my home front. And so that I kept doing and doing over and over and again. Like, I just kept writing and writing and writing. And even though I was being repetitive, that was something that needed to come out. Now, when you do writing therapy, and because it's writing, you really have to put your thought process on paper, right? So your thought process is actually becoming something that's in here, that's tangible, and so and visual. And so when you do go back and you read it, you kind of, it puts things in perspective for you. um you're able to accept the things that you can't change and change the things that you can. So you then you go down to the step 3. Step 3 is you've already realized that even though the writing didn't solve the issues, the current issues that you were dealing with, but it taught me to put my thoughts, like I said, and emotions into words, to exercise the thought process and practice processing the situation and seeing things for what they are. And now I always was told, yes, it is what it is. It is what it is. And that I cannot stand that 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 saying, because it's just like, yeah, you just have to accept it and that's it. No. When you say it is what it is, you can say, well, you know what? It is what it is, and I don't like it, and I am going to remove myself from the situation. And so, we all have to make sure that we apply that process to our daily lives. Um, Even something as simple as making a simple decision, because when you're in a narcissistic relationship or in a situation, when you come from a situation or a foundation that's kind of rocky emotionally and mentally, it's very difficult to accept situations when you actually get out there as an adult, because when you're not taught, or when you're not taught to speak your mind, you have no ability to process your thoughts and emotions, and therefore things get unbalanced, and then that's where you have problems with yourself. Either your self-confidence goes down because you don't know how to speak what's on your mind, you don't know how to process your emotions so that you can clearly state what you're feeling, or clearly state what you think about it in a calm manner. We just get explosive because that's what we're taught that will get a reaction. And so that becomes a habit. Okay, it becomes a habit, and then therefore then everybody sees you as, a bitch. and you don't want to be that. And really, really inside, you're not like that. But when you are stuck in a situation, or you come from, like I said, a foundation that is kind of rocky emotionally and mentally, you're not taught how to communicate. And that's what this whole thing about self-growth and self-love and self-care is accepting things that happen in your life, acknowledging it, saying that you did not like what you had to go through, but this is what you have learned. Now, when I was back home in Hawaii, my situation was not a pleasant one. It was not a pleasant one at all. It was very, very, um, very toxic, very, very toxic. And so this writing therapy, it helped me to deal honestly. And even though it's been 4 years since I've been out of that situation, I think back to my writing therapy, and I think back to the things that I used to write in there, and it was the same song over and over and over. But each time, even though it was baby steps, and inside, mentally and emotionally, I was being broken down, I still the writing therapy helped me to keep my feelings and thoughts in check. So even if I was angry, 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 and I said some nasty shit, I wrote it on paper, and I went back and I said, okay, no, I really don't feel like that. I was angry at that time. It was easy for me to see a visual of my emotions, my overreaction of the situation. There's times where, yes, I was entitled to act the way I did, but there was also times where, because it was such a repetitive issue, it just got to be so monotonous and so mundane and so that it started to become poison. But I was able to see my thoughts and my emotions in words come out, and as I read back, I realized that, wow, I really don't feel that way, but at that time I felt that way. And so you're like, oh wow, that was not a good thing to say, because our feelings and our thoughts, our mental, is all energy that we put into the air. Okay, so we are all vibrations. Our bodies are we are vibrations. We are made up of vibrations. And so when we feel and we think and we show emotion, that is the energy that is coming off of us. And to see that energy on paper, it puts you in a whole different state of mind, and it puts you in a whole different um, um, it's humbling. It's very humbling. It teaches you how to be um, unassuming, so modest. It does when you see that. And granted, I didn't really look at those tablets, those notebooks, 4 journals that I had, until I decided to pack up my kids and leave a horrible situation and come here to a different environment where I had complete 100% control of myself, my domain, my household, my thoughts, my, you know, and not saying that I wanted to be controlling. It was, I felt like I had no direction. And so when I think back to writing those journals, it's amazing how my thought process and how much I've matured since then, and accepting what was and what is, and using it to my self growth and development. And number 4, so we are here at number 4. So now you begin to apply those that thought process to your everyday life. then you're able to think clearly, and then you're able to actually take action. So making or taking the necessary steps to change your life, taking the steps that's needed to make the changes, and to grow and to let go and to develop and to move forward. So once I made the decision to come here and leave the situation that I was in, I was, like I said, I was able to make the changes. So it went from even the way I run my household, to the diet, to our daily routine, to you know, the way we live, the way we live. And it's a very, very relaxed environment. Of course, as a mom, you know, you're going to have days where you just cannot deal with your kids. That's a totally different thing. What I'm saying is, when you bring yourself out from darkness, being in a toxic relationship, and you bring yourself out of darkness, how are you going to repair yourself? And so that's why I needed to make the change. I needed to make the change as um to live, basically. Basically, because the situation that I was in was so horribly toxic and poisonous, and it was just, I had no sense of direction. I Even though I was doing everything that I was doing, I was going to hula practice, I was performing, I was taking my kids to practice, I was taking my kids to music practice, I was going to church, I was being a parent, I still felt lost. And I felt like I was just a zombie, just going through every day, because my life was so full of toxicity, you know, um, from the relationship that I was in. It was just horrible. And so I couldn't even think straight. I couldn't even stand up righteously and say that I am doing a good job at raising my kids, because I realized that I was not, because they were still in a toxic situation. So doing writing the journal, seeing it visually, and having something tangible in my hand to hold and read about myself, it made me realize that, gosh, wow, I just have to sort out the reality and what I think is ideal for my relationship, and what is the poison that's happening in my relationship, when I could separate those through something that was, of substance in my hand, a physical object in a notebook. I was able to just completely start to apply these things to my life and make the changes that I did. And so therefore, that's when I started planning. And that's what happened. um in all honesty, I wasn't supposed to move here by myself. I was supposed to move to California, with my whole family, except my son and his family, of course, my two girls, and you know baby daddy ex. But things happened, so there was like a huge bomb that dropped on the relationship, bang. And then that was when I realized the writing therapy, the process, the thought process. And I was very, very, the when the first when I realized, oh my gosh, yeah, I can't move away from Hawaii with him. I can't do that. No, then what's going to happen if I do that? I have to go by myself. And so I started making plans to go by myself with my kids, and everything just came into play. Like, everything, the selling of my vehicles, the moving, my garage sales, everything, selling everything, being able to stay with my friend before I left, and just all of that stuff, that was, it just came together because my focus was so clear. And the last thing that I did was, I moved here. I never been here before. My children had never been here before. It was a new place. I took a chance. It was scary. It was scary for me and my kids, but in the end, it was, here we are now. And that's why I'm making this YouTube channel. And it was taking that first step, planning, um, placement, process, purpose, and present. That's what I did. So that is planning, placement, process, purpose, and present. So that was the whole thing. When I got here, I told my girls, this is a new start. This is a new way of life. We're going to be much happier. And it was rough for us for the first few months. It was very rough. And my kid was not happy. And I asked her, I said, just give it 1 year. And if you don't like it, then you can go back home. We'll go back home. If it doesn't work out, just 1 year. And we're going on 4 years this July. And so I just wanted to get on here. That is my 5 steps that I took to becoming a better person for self-growth, self-care, self-love, self everything, and changing my thought process and like to be a better person in this world. Period. And to be focused and to be I am the strongest that I've ever been in my entire life. And I am so stoked and so happy that I made that decision. Even though being a single mama is a struggle, it's okay. I have my sanity, I have my dignity, my integrity, and my children are happy. I'm happy. I am living out here. I'm out here and I'm doing it. So for those of you young women out there, or any age, not just for young women, but and not just for single moms or moms, just women who have been in situations that they felt like that they couldn't get out of, and they felt like, okay, this is gonna be it. No, you're not. Don't sell yourself short. Like I said, number one, acknowledgement of self. Everything, acknowledge yourself. Number two, applying the changes to yourself. Acknowledging and setting up expectations and setting up standards for yourself. Number three, realization. And like I did, for me, I did the writing therapy, and that's what helped me to realize that I could not resolve the issues, but it taught me to process my mental and emotional state when going through those situations, and dealing with those situations. It The writing therapy taught me how to process it, and it takes a minute to get used to where it comes like that, like natural, but it will come in time. It used to take me days and days to write down all my feelings, and then also focusing your energies to the right areas of the situation, because there could be little certain aspects of a situation that are very very minor, but then your emotions and your mental is so unbalanced that you might focus on that one little thing when it's actually the major thing that you're not focusing on, which is you. Even though you feel like somebody has hurt me, somebody did this to me, it is you who is ultimately the one who's in control of your emotions and your mental state, and how you process it, and your comprehension of everything. So and then also learning how to hear a person but not let it penetrate you emotionally and mentally. That is something that I definitely sometimes I still have to work on that. So it's not like once you've think you've mastered the process that it's going to be okay. No, you still have, it's a continuous daily thing that you have to work on. Then again, for number 4, making or taking the necessary steps to make the changes. And my change was I had to get out of Dodge. Okay, I had to leave. And so that's what I did. And I said, okay, I'm moving in 3 months. Boom, everything was done, and I was on the plane to Nevada. And then trying new things. That was 4 and 5 together, because that was okay. I've never ever been to Las Vegas. Never stepped foot off the island since I was a child. And so, you know, everything was new. And I said, okay, here we go. Took the chance. Because if you don't take the chance, then you're not going to know. I told myself that if I don't do this, that in 5 years, back in 2018, I said in 5 years, I'm going to regret it. Maybe in 2 years, I'm going to regret it. And I haven't regretted it since. The only thing that makes me want to go back home is to see my boys and my daughter in law. That's it. Really. I love my Ohana, but my babies are the ones that I want to see. But they're safe, they're fine, they're healthy, they're grown adults, and here I am with their sisters and doing what I gotta do. Anyways, thank you guys for your time. I hope you got something out of this. Please leave a comment, and you know, please like, follow. Wait, wait. Please subscribe. That's what we're supposed to say. Subscribe and share this YouTube channel. And I will see you next time. Aloha.